Well, a good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet of ours. And I know that we have a lot of listeners in the US, and it is good evening for you. In fact, some of you might be sleeping. Well, this podcast and recording is for Take Charge of Your Health Naturally. The interview here is to share tips, wisdom, and ideas on how you can take charge of your health naturally. And our guest today is Sobia Zafar, and she comes to us with wonderful experience. She's worked in corporate, she's seen burnout, she's seen all sorts of examples of how we do not take charge of our health naturally. So, Sobia, welcome.
Thank you so much, Margie. So excited for this conversation.
So before we go into any of the questions, we have a few little questions I'd like to ask. Would you like to share with our listeners your journey that's brought you to this amazing platform where you are a coach and you coach high performing executives on this very subject?
See, high performing in itself comes with a lot of heaviness. High is like something that's tall, something that needs to be maintained, something that has weight on your shoulders. It doesn't feel lighthearted, right? And then performance, you got to perform. It's like a race to win. So you're on the go, 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 go. So if you were like me, I was a high achiever without knowing it when I was a kid. Never worked hard, but got good grades. Then it's natural. But once I got into the corporate world, I got into my career, then there was this burden that this is what people know me as. I must live up to it. I must perform this race. I must win this Olympic, I must carry the torch. So all of that burden, it starts bringing your body down day by day, year after year, before you know it. And we are so in this fast-paced environment, we just don't listen to our body. So when we say wellness naturally, the first step is to be in sync with your body, right? As a first step. So we go so much out of sync as we get older and older, take one goal after another. Then we're doing everything externally, but what's present with me, I'm not present with that. That is what keeps adding up, stacking up. And before you know it, you're burnt out, overwhelmed, depression, chronic disease, sinus. All of this, the underlying cause is stress. And what is stress? Stress is compromise after compromise after compromise. So your body is keeping the score. That's a great book to read, by the way. But we must even that score. Yeah. So I think that was my story. Like after I became a mother, I just couldn't relate to success in the same way. It had to mean something different. This little human being in my arms, I needed to be present. I needed to be here. I needed to be a nourisher. Everything I knew about life changed in that moment. And I call it a struggle between deadlines and diapers.
Deadlines and diapers, I love it.
Yeah, from morning to night, and the guilt of not being here and not being there, just torn apart. And I know not just mothers, like many parents go through this phase, sometimes for months and for years. And for women, what our bodies go through with the pregnancy, with the child delivery, sleepless nights, and then this guilt on top. Stack that up, And then you're like, why do I have neck pains? Why can't I sleep? Why am I not motivated to go out and walk in the sun? So, yeah, it's all quite obvious. So that's my journey, basically.
That leads me to the question, how do you define success?
How I define my success is what brings me joy. What brings me joy every day, not in the long term. Because for me, it took me many years. Like I knew that what brings me joy is success to me. But what does joy mean? That took me years to find out. So for me, joy is like moving water. So if you look at the water in a pond, when it's stagnant, it can get fungus. It's not clean to drink, right? So that's how our body becomes when we are going through chronic problems, because there's not movement. And when there's joy inside, there's movement. Your blood flows, you breathe lightly, you move your body. You take yourself lightly. So that's what joy does to the body. So everything moves, and that's when healing happens.
I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
And that's the choice that we are making every morning when we plan our day, when we set our intention. So don't miss that opportunity to be intentional with the morning. Doesn't matter what time we wake up. Just those 5-10 minutes really make or break our day.
So leading on from there, if I said to you, what is the price that we pay for success, but what is the price our health takes if we don't do what you've just suggested?
See, all of us, even if we think that we come from a nourishing and a nurturing environment, all of us have gone through life experiences that were not kind, right? It could have been a toxic colleague to work with, could have been being laid off from a job, could have been a divorce, could have been moving to a new country, lost of a loved one, different ones, or maybe as a child. So let's not say yours is smaller than mine or mine is bigger than yours. Everybody has their own fair share of things that we've been through. They stack up in our brain as trauma. Some are bigger, some are smaller. And if we try to just bandage it, I'll just go to the gym, I'll just do yoga, I'll just listen to some nice music, I'll be fine. That's just like putting a bandage. It's not going to heal. It's going to last you 1 day, 2 days, but it's going to keep, I don't know what's the right word, keep becoming chronic and chronic and chronic. It'll keep dialing up that chronicness in it. So the price that we are paying by making easy choices today is a harder life later on. And a lot of that with physical, mental, and emotional health, and brain health for that matter. So courageous choices today to sit with grief if we need to sit with the pain if we need to, not bypass it, not shortcut it, sit with it, being present with it, and our love and accept ourselves as is with that is going to create an easier and healthier life later on in the coming years.
You've said a lot in so many different ways. So having said that, what would your tips be to our listeners? Bearing in mind what you've just said, what tips would you give them to move forward in the right way?
If they could do just one thing, like the simplest thing is to master the art of listening. Stop and listen. Start by just where you are. Listen to whatever you hear around you on a walk. Leave your headphones at home. Just listen to the chirping of birds. Listen to the water moving. Eventually, you will master the art to a way that you can listen to people around you, even your children, your partner, your parents, your friends. Eventually, with practice, you will be able to listen to your body. Eventually, with practice, you'll be able to listen to your heart. And then later on with practice, you'll be able to listen to the song in your heart. So just start small, start consistently, and just start by listening to the sounds on your walk. It's as simple as that. Practice, practice, practice.
I think that is so powerful what you've said. Those are just easy little steps to move in the right direction.
Yeah, and move that joy within, like stir things up so that things move within your body. The blood flows. the love grows. It's, yeah.
Love flows. No, sorry. Love, blood flows and love grows. I love that. So when we spoke a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
you mentioned principles of prosperous living. Would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about that? Because I think that's absolutely priceless.
Yeah. So I created that a few years ago. And what I was noticing that, in the personal development industry, people just tell you what to do. They don't go into how to do it. Be present, slow down. But how much do I slow down? Somebody needs to slow down this much. Somebody needs to slow down. Everybody's slow down is different, right? Become present. Your level of presence and my level of presence is going to be totally different depending on our lifestyle. If I have young, under 5 children, how can I be present as much as somebody who has older children? So, there are a few things. The missing is in the how. Give me some small little techniques that I can adopt. Give me some minimalist approach. I don't have time for an hour yoga every day. I don't have time to do that, depending on where I'm at. So these principles really just break it down to 7 things if you could just do that. And what I would say, these videos, so anything, my content on my way of facilitating a change in any person, or even in a training room, is a minimalist approach to transformation. So when we walk away, when you watch these videos, there's no to-do list. You only focus on thinking, who am I being? What is my to-be list? And keep it as simple and clean as short as possible. So these 7 things could just be your to-be list. And they're only under 3-minute long each video. There's 7 videos on 7 principles. So what I would say that give yourself the gift of presence and listening. And even if you're tempted, just listen to 1 video a day. Let your body take that in. Let your body embody it. And let your body show up with it. So I'll share the link. It's on my website. It's a free resource. It's my gift to you, but receive that gift. Give yourself permission to receive without any transaction. Because you deserve it. You're worth it. And you're loved and you're held.
Thank you so much. I've so enjoyed our time together, and I know our listeners are just going to fully absorb like a sponge those 7 videos. Bless you, and thank you so much for being our guest this morning. And I look forward to connecting with you further. The first thing I'm going to do is go and do those 7 videos myself, because there are times when I know I'm not listening fully, where I know I'm not fully present. So I'm just as guilty. So I'm going to get the how.
Yeah. But we love ourselves regardless.
Exactly. So have a fabulous day, and listeners, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.